Jenny from Cutie Patootie Crafts, and let's just jump right into the video. So first thing I did was cut down a piece of 110-pound Nina with my tonic trimmer and use my Misty to stamp out some of the images from Hello Bluebirds, Be Happy. I used Gina K amalgam ink, which you'll see in a minute. And you might notice I don't have magnets anymore in my Misty. I learned from the Hedgehog Hollow an amazing life-changing tip. You use Sizzix sticky grids and it holds your paper in place fantastically. Way easier to stamp without any fear of shifting paper or the paper sticking to the stamps when you lift the lid. So that's awesome. So moving on to the coloring, I use mostly Copics, also a Blick Studio brush marker, and a blender from Recollections because I seem to have misplaced my Copic one. But if you're looking for a cheaper Copic alternative, I highly recommend the Studio brush markers from Blick. I got them like 3 years ago and they're still going strong. They have replacement ink and nibs. The only downside is there's not as many colors as Copic, but that's where I've just been filling in the gaps with the Copics. So from here, I'm just gonna let some music play, and I do have to apologize for the glare. I'll have to adjust that next time. But all the colors I use will be in a detailed blog post on my website, so stay tuned. So from here, I used my scan and cut to cut out all the images, and moving on to the main card panel, I'm using my big kick to cut out the frames from Gallery Frame 4 die from Hello Bluebird, and I'm cutting one out of white cardstock and one out of blue cardstock, both 65-pound from Recollections. And my plan is to use the blue frame from one and the white window piece from the other. Setting that aside, I'm going to start working on a Distress Oxide blended panel that'll go behind the frame. My goal was to make a soft sherbet looking background, and I'm using spun sugar, dried marigold, and squeezed lemonade. And I'm just using some Amazon makeup brushes. I got a set of 10 for $6.99, and they're back in stock, so I'll definitely link that below. And just gonna keep blending until I get the effect that I want. Once that was done, I used my heat tool to heat set the panel a little bit and then set that aside. So this is where the photo stack die comes in from Hello Bluebird. I'm going to use the smile die and some cardstock scrap that I'm blending milled lavender onto. I'm hoping the purple will stand out but still match with the rest of the color scheme. Once again, I'm gonna bring in my tonic trimmer to cut this piece down and heat set it a little bit so I can run it through my Sizzix Sidekick and cut out the smile. Now I'm going to lay everything out and see how it fits together. Once I had everything laid out, I didn't think the smile stood out enough, so I'm taking some Dusty Concord Distress Oxide and I'm just going over the smile, and that'll hopefully help it stand out a little more. On one of my many trips to Hobby Lobby, I came across this container of rhinestones, 50% off, so I thought a lifetime's worth of rhinestones for $7 was a really good price. After picking out some of the rhinestones, I moved on to the card base made out of 110-pound Recollections cardstock, and I just scored it at 5.5. Back to my Misty for the inside sentiment, I chose You're the Bee's Knees and one of the cute little bees. I'm double stamping so I get a nice crisp impression. Now I'm going to start bringing in all my card pieces and start putting it together. This is actually my second attempt. On my first attempt, liquid glue was not my friend. This time I used my ATG gun and some other tape adhesive. Had a little trouble with this one too, but we worked it out. Now I start bringing all my images back in so I can glue them down with some Tombow monoliquid glue. For the little bee holding the honey jar, I wanted to pop him up just the slightest little bit with a glue dot. Next up is this little cute bee with the glasses. He's gonna be holding a flower. Usually I am a lawn fawn fanatic, but Hello Bluebird has some very cute stamps. And finally I go ahead and add the sentiment, and up after that are the purple rhinestones. And just when I thought I was done, I thought the smile was over too far to the left and I wanted to fill it in. So after attaching it to the card base, I decided to add an extra sentiment under the word smile. I thought adding the sentiment onto some black cardstock with some white heat embossing would look pretty nice. I made sure to use my EK Success powder tool to remove any chance of static. Then I used the Versamark ink to stamp out the Be Happy. I used some white detail embossing powder from Michaels and still ended up with some extra powder where I didn't want it. So I just brushed that away with a paintbrush and brought in my heat tool to melt the embossing powder. I brought in my trimmer one last time to cut this down pretty small, leaving a tiny border. And for the final step, I used some 3M Scotch foam tape to pop it up right under the smile. And that's it for the finished card. Any additional photos and information can be found at my blog at cutiepatootiecrafts.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to be back soon with another crafty video.